What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Athletic Lounge. I am Mike.
And I'm Josh.
So, a little bit of a hiatus the last couple weeks. We had the Winter Classic vlog, and now I have the ski trip coming up. That should be probably this weekend, I would assume. Have a lot of time this weekend, so football and editing this weekend. So, but let's hop right into it because
there's a lot that's been going on.
Honestly, a lot. And the projections I had for the beginning of the year, especially for the Browns and the way they were looking.
I don't know. I'm still looking good.
Yeah, you are.
Still cooking.
I mean, besides with the Dolphins.
Yeah, well, who cares about my first thing was the Lions, baby. That was me straight from the get-go.
I mean, maybe that changes this week, but I just want to run through the scores that we had from the past week. The Texans smoked the Browns. Chiefs smoked the Dolphins in that cold weather with 15 people who have hypothermia now.
Mm-hmm.
The Packers.
Not a surprise.
Now, Cowboy fans, fuck you, all right?
Not a surprise.
Fuck you,
Saw
guys.
it coming from a mile away.
There was multiple people that have said, "Oh, Cowboys, this is our year." Guess what?
Yeah,
it's
they say
the same
it
old
every
fucking
year.
song and dance. Same old song and dance. And Lions beat the Rams, which was I think was one of the better games.
That was actually fun to watch.
Of the set of games we had. Now, Bills Steelers, which I think everyone had an idea that game was going to go in the Bills' favor, especially in Buffalo. And another kicker, which is I'm gonna get to my buddy Kerry in a second, which was the Bucs beating the Eagles. Now, I was a hater or a non-believer in Baker, but dude, he was slinging that rock on Sunday.
Doing his thing.
He looked like he was in his prime. Like he looked like, I don't know if you saw that meme. It was the Spider-Man meme. I'll pull it up. I'll put it right here.
Yeah.
But it was like the Spider-Man meme where he's like taking his glasses off, and it was Baker Mayfield, but he took his glasses off, and it was Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So now I want to bring in one of my buddies, Kerry here. He was almost basically correct on all the picks from this week. Kerry, are you there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm here. What's going on?
What's going on, man? So I know you said especially the Texans and the Browns one. I want to go over that one off the jump because I was a firm believer in what the Browns were doing.
Me too.
And I just did not see
Jay Stroud do that, you know.
Listen, he's a boy. They're dogs over there in Texas.
My God.
Now, why did you think that Texas was going to pull through over the Browns this weekend?
Like you said, and Josh said, CJ Stroud is a dog. Nobody expected him to do it. Coming second overall out of Ohio, Browns only allowing a scoring drive 23% of the time. When you put a guy like CJ Stroud against that statistic, it's only going to mean one thing, and that's going to be a dogfight.
Mm-hmm.
And CJ Stroud was absolutely slinging the ball. He was controlling the offense extremely well. Yeah, he was going up against the best defense in the NFL, which everybody knew, and absolutely destroyed them. Now, going back to that statistic saying that they only allow a scoring drive, whether a field goal or a touchdown, 23% of the time, CJ Stroud did that 3 times. And the kicker did it once, and then the defense had 2 of their own touchdowns.
Insane.
I wonder if anybody else has done that.
Stroud.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
I was just saying, I wonder if any other quarterback has done that all year. I wonder who scored the most points on the Browns this year. That has to be the highest scoring points against the Browns this year, right?
Probably, yeah. Honestly, yeah, it might be. It might be. I mean, I like you said before, like we had the conversation and before the game, and we've had a couple disagreements that I really thought that you guys were pretty sure that the Texans were going to beat. Flacco was going to choke. And let me tell you, did Flacco shit the bed, or I've never seen, I don't know what happened.
I mean, look, yeah, he had
2 back-to-back pick sixes. That killed him.
That absolutely
took
killed
him out of the game.
But, even without those, they're still losing the game.
You know what's crazy? Flacco threw the ball 46 times. CJ Stroud threw the ball 21 times.
And he had more passing yards, right?
He had 274 passing yards, CJ Stroud, and Joe Flacco had 307 yards, but he had 2 interceptions, only 1 touchdown. CJ Stroud had 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a QBR of 157.2. Flacco only had an 80.6 QBR after that game.
That's insane. That's insane. Now this was another one. Now, you can chime in too when you hear you think you can slide in. Now, Josh has been the proponent of the Dolphins being look like the greatest team.
Oh, no. I just say that they're the fastest team. Just
Josh,
because people can lose just because they're fast.
A ton of money on Miami.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
We all saw it.
I don't know. I saw it from the get-go. I sincerely said it from the jump that the Dolphins were going to lose in the first round. And guess who else is next losing in the first round? The fucking Ravens, bro. I don't mean to jump ship here, but the fucking Ravens, you're next, bro. Lamar is not getting this win. I don't care what anybody says. That's for another section, but
the closer we get, the more I believe that.
I really don't see them. The more Kerry keeps talking about these numbers, and it's like,
but again, the Ravens aren't the Browns. The Ravens
no, you're right, 100%. But I don't know. I do feel like that Ravens team they're going to come out flat. They're going to think this is an easy one. I don't know.
I don't think they are. That's not how they've been playing these. They finished this season hard. They played every single game hard, except the last game. But that don't matter because they didn't have anybody start.
No, it didn't matter.
They finished this when Lamar was playing. They were playing hard, nose down, gritty. They do what they needed to get done to win the football. They weren't worrying about stats. Lamar was coming out. I don't care what's going on with fantasy. We're winning these games.
Mike and Josh, being that you guys have mixed feelings about this game, do you see it being a close one? Because I can tell you the statistics are close. Is it going to be a close game, or is it going to be a shootout like the Detroit game?
I mean, these games have just thrown me for a loop because I'm not expecting all these blowouts here and there, especially with the underdogs blowing out the people, but I think it's going to be a great game, but I think both quarterbacks are going to want to prove themselves. I think CJ Stroud's going to want to say, hey, Lamar, you're nothing, man. I'm the new guy. Yeah. I'm the one coming up to take your spot.
Yeah.
And Lamar wants to be the guy to be like, no, you're not, little boy. I'm here and I'm staying. So I think it's going to be.
I do think that game is going to be the better of the games this weekend, and I am interested to see how the Chiefs play the Bills. But back to the Chiefs and the Dolphins. Where do you think that the Dolphins kind of fell apart? I mean, where do you think that it kind of?
To be honest, I think the cold absolutely screwed them. I hate to blame the elements because it's the football game. You can't blame the elements. You got to be able to play in the elements. It's the sport, but I think the cold really screwed him. If it was a warmer game, I don't see him playing like that. Tua, for some reason, could not throw the ball that game. Didn't want to throw it at all. And that just completely cripples them. That's their entire offense, is yucking the ball to Tyreek. He had a little of that in the beginning, but
no, I mean, it seemed like they really couldn't get
anything going.
It really was, they got that one long touchdown with Tyreek. That was about it. But now, what about you, Kerry? What do you think? I mean, do you think it was just the weather? Do you see them kind of looking at themselves as a whole this year and evaluating what?
Yes and no. I agree with Josh to an extent when it comes to the weather. I don't think it screwed them. I think I am no means an NFL insider, but I think they knew they lost that game before they even walked out of the pregame. They hung their hat on the weather.
Yeah. Plus, they also had, I think, like 5 starters injured.
They knew when the NFL was like, we're not moving this fucking game. They're like, we're screwed. Instead of saying, okay, you don't want to give us this change, which by all means, they should not get that change, in my opinion. They hung their hat on it. They're like, instead of saying, okay, you're not going to give us the stadium change or a mutual location for us to play at who's not in the playoffs like Arizona, then then instead of saying, okay, you don't want to give us the change, then we're going to kick your ass and screw the NFL for not giving it to us. They were like, you know what, whatever. They're not going to give it to us. We're going to play our best. And if we lose, we're going to hang our hat on that.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if you go to every Miami fan page, it's snow, snow, snow. Not Tua turn the ball over or Mostert is 45 years old or nothing like that.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Now, it's fun. It's just interesting because where do you really, you hang your hat on the loss. Granted, I mean, where do you think? I couldn't imagine them possibly. When have they ever moved a game because of the cold? Unless the field was collapsing or the sky, or there was too much rain, or they've never moved the game for it to be, being too cold.
Yeah. There's no weather going on.
They moved the Buffalo game a day later because they got 16 feet of snow in Buffalo. So, but yeah. So and now, Packers Cowboys is definitely an interesting one. Now, Packers obviously had their fucking way with Dallas, dude. Dude, Dallas, dude, screw you guys. You guys are the worst fans. You guys are the worst fans in the world. I mean, I've never seen it's so funny. Like, you can always rely on going on Instagram or going on TikTok and looking and seeing all the Cowboys fans raging and breaking their TVs and ripping their Cowboy shit down. But guess what?
Just to hang it back up next year.
They're the first person online at fucking Dick's Sporting Goods in the following year to go get more fucking Cowboy shit. This is all year. This is it. Let's get it tatted on us. This is it. This is all year. But guess what? Nothing is going to change until fucking Jerry Jones gets his fucking old ass out of the front office.
Yeah.
And I think that's how you fix this problem. And it's not, I don't think it's McCarthy as poorly of a cold game he did this week. I don't think it's McCarthy. I think it's Jones. I think Jerry Jones needs to get the fuck out of there. I think it's time. Take us, maybe not sell the team, but get the fuck out of it. Let
get
the professionals handle the front office and
take a step back.
Exactly. I think that's what needs to happen. And if that doesn't happen, I do end up seeing them. I mean, if this didn't show that, if they do want to go the route of, all right, McCarthy, you haven't really done much for us, so we're going to try to pivot and go to Belichick. That'd be interesting to see. That's
maybe Belichick really whips that defense into shape.
I mean, would Belichick want to go to Dallas? I mean, I think that's
one of the best options for him. They already have a solid defense and a solid offense. There's not much you really have to build on there. You really just need to tweak some bits and pieces, and you got a Super Bowl team.
Yeah. I mean,
Now, what did can I tune in for this?
Absolutely.
Belichick conversation.
Absolutely.
And we've had this conversation before, and I would love for people, listeners of the Athletic Lounge, to tell me I'm right or wrong or whatever. But Belichick and me and Mike have had this conversation. Belichick, he was so successful with Brady because he was able to mold Brady. I don't think he can mold Prescott. The reason I think he met with Atlanta is because Desmond Ridder is super young, new to the league, with some power around him. Yeah. He's not the power. The power around him. With the Falcons, you got Bijan, all of them. I don't think he's going to Dallas because he can't mold Prescott. Look at Mac Jones. Mac Jones did not take what Belichick was giving him, and they crumbled, and he left. So I don't think he's going to a team where he can't mold the quarterback to his liking.
That makes sense. I like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I mean,
but also, Belichick is old. How long can you really mold a quarterback to build up a quarterback and get a good team around him to then bring him to the Super Bowl?
I think he needs a guy like CJ Stroud, a young guy with pure natural talent, and he can just mold the mental aspect of the game.
Right into the psyche.
Then a young talented player who's eager to learn and doesn't have like his shit don't stink like Prescott. Then I think an archetype like CJ Stroud, not CJ Stroud, but an archetype like CJ Stroud.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that. And well, I mean, now would you see him possibly going to San Diego, Kerry?
San Diego.
Not San Diego.
LA?
Yeah, LA. That's not San Diego. They're not
Justin
the San Diego
Herbert?
Chargers. Yeah, with Herbert. You see
Herbert's
that happening?
He doesn't have much pride to sit on, which is good for Belichick, not for Chargers fans. But what is Herbert was talked about for maybe a year, and then he fell to the wayside for most football fans.
Yeah.
Unless you're a Chargers fan. So I would love to see Belichick mold a guy like Herbert who has pure talent and Keenan Allen to back him up.
Yeah, if maybe you can teach him how to stay healthy too.
That would help everyone.
Get him on the TB12 diet.
Yeah, exactly. So the Packers absolutely demolishing the Cowboys, which was surprising, but wholesome.
Again,
wholesome.
Yeah, not surprising at the same time.
But now, so the Lions and the Rams, that was, I think, the best game out of the slate. I mean, the Packers, like I said, was a good one. Texas beating the brakes off the Browns was nice. But seeing a close game like that was nice. And it seemed like both sides were kind of evenly matched.
It could have went both ways.
They could have went both ways. But now the Lions are coming in now I feel like that could be good and bad. Because now you look at the Lions and the Rams, I mean, they were neck and neck. I thought the Lions were more of a powerhouse where they should just beat the Rams. And Kerry mentioned that too earlier, that if the Lions are just scraping by the Rams, then I just started thinking about it. I mean, are they really going to match up good against the Bucs, I think, right, Kerry? They play the Bucs?
Yeah, they play the Bucs Sunday at 3:00 in Detroit.
I mean, so I think that one is going to be an interesting one, especially for Baker and for the Lions, to see if the Lions are, do have some more power in them to, get past and I do think the Bucs are better than the Rams.
Yeah, I would say that.
I mean, especially if the Bucs are walking in and beating the Eagles like they did.
Yeah, but the Eagles were just a broken team. They just were just demoralized walking into the playoffs. I mean, just nothing. You always got to look at Jalen Hurts, just blank face.
Yeah.
You never know when he's sad or happy. They weren't. They were. I mean, what did they start off? 10-1. I mean,
Eagles.
Yeah, and then just boom. Losing. That kills a team going into the playoffs.
Now with that Eagles loss, you got Jason Kelce retires now too.
Yeah, it's literally that's like your heart. That's like the heart of your team.
That's the heart, yeah.
Literally.
And now looking down the line, does that now affect the push tush for the Eagles?
Definitely, you got to teach your center to hold it. He's the main part of it.
I'll circle back to Kelce later. But now the Steelers and the Bills here. Bills, seemed like Josh Allen remembered how to play football again, back to his normal prime self.
Yeah.
And I love to see it. And I think it should be an interesting one this weekend. I mean, especially back in Buffalo against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I think that
it'll be a good game.
It should be a fucking great game. Now, I want to start with the first game of the slate on Saturday, 4:30, M&T Bank Stadium, Texas Ravens. Kerry, where do you now you're saying you read me some stats earlier that I thought were pretty interesting about the pocket time and how much the percentages of the open field when Lamar breaks out of the pocket. You want to just run through that for me?
Sure. So the CJ Stroud, Lamar Jackson tell the tape with both of them being considered mobile quarterbacks to the naked eye, to the NFL insider. CJ Stroud is considered a pocket passer because he doesn't leave the pocket. He moves the pocket. Lamar Jackson will run outside of the pocket, and once he breaks the pocket, he's looking to run. And I say that because when he breaks the pocket, the initial pocket, he only looks at 11% of the field, whichever way he's running. So if he's running left, he's only looking at 11% of the left side of the field. CJ Stroud will look, if he's running left or right, will look at more than 20% of the field. And they find that statistic based on his eyes when he's rolling. Now, I have some other statistics about the type of coverage real quick that he will throw into. CJ Stroud, when he's passing against zone coverage, he has a 106.5 QBR. When he's throwing against man coverage, he's 102.0. Lamar Jackson, when he's throwing against zone, he completes the ball 69% of the time. When he's versing man coverage, he only completes the pass 60% of the time. So what that tells me is that Lamar Jackson cannot throw outside the pocket, and he should stop trying. The second he breaks the pocket and he's got someone maybe within 5 yards in any direction of him, he should just take off because he's thinking too much.
That's normally what he tries. That's what he tries to do. I mean, he's king of the pump fake and dip.
I mean, now if Texas is smart, they would be subscribed to the Athletic Lounge podcast, and they would be listening to this insight we're giving them before the game this weekend. And I do think that stat alone, and I do think that number where when he breaks out of the pocket, and you said he's 20% likely to rush, right? Or what would you say it was? 20%. What was the number again?
For CJ Stroud, it's over 20% when he's outside the pocket. Lamar Jackson's only 11%.
It's looking at the field.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like from the Texans' perspective, I mean, you're going to be on Lamar no matter what. Once he breaks that pocket, he's not passing that ball.
Yeah,
he's most likely he's going to put. Yeah, he might pump fake you.
That's the thing. You can't
bite on the pump fake.
You don't bite on the pump fake. You just watch him. And don't bite on the pump fake. He's going to try it and he's going to try it again. Just don't bite on it. He's not throwing the ball. I promise you.
So go ahead.
My thing is, why are you blitzing Lamar? It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not sending 8 at Lamar. It's not happening. So just sacrifice a 4-man line with a spy. If you have a spy, you at least have one person in somewhat of a range to make Lamar make a move and slow him down. I'm not even going to say tackle him because it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And if you do it, then good on you, or he's going to run out of bounds. So if you have that spy, I don't see the point of having 4 D linemen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Unless they're running the ball constantly, which they're not. Because Dobbs is still out. Dobbins is still out. So they're really not going to run the ball as much as they want to. Yeah, and now the short game is the man. Gone.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews is still out. Isaiah Likely is quick. They don't use him as a check down tight end. His 30% of Isaiah Likely's throws in the last 3 weeks of the regular season were above 15 yards as a tight end. So their short game is gone.
Yeah.
And Lamar uses that to his advantage because he's like, oh, just clear out. I'll take off. If I can't find you in 2.2 seconds, I'll take off.
Yeah.
And that's how the Ravens run it. So if you run a spy, that's over. Now he has to throw the ball or he has to hit a shitty check down.
So, I mean, I think that answers the question. You're going for the Texans this weekend?
I'm 1,000% going for the Texans because I'm a CJ Stroud believer, dog.
Yeah.
And what about you? You going for the Ravens?
Nah, I'm going for the Ravens. I really do I just like how they've been playing all year. They've just been great. Nothing against the Texans. I love CJ Stroud just as much as next guy, but I also love Lamar too.
I'm going to have to agree with Kerry on this one. I'm going to go with the Texans. And I've been saying it from the jump. Lamar can be the greatest regular season MVP. He can be the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. That's great. But until you win a fucking ship, it don't mean nothing. Right. So until I see Lamar win a game, and a wild card game doesn't count, Ravens fans. Just because he won a wild card game a couple years ago doesn't matter.
So CJ Stroud hasn't won a game.
Sure, absolutely. But I mean, compared to the team he beat, I mean, he definitely won a fucking game. He beat one of the top seeds of the division, and So Josh. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was a broken Browns team.
And, I do think that it's going to end up being a dogfight.
Oh, I do too.
I think it will be a lot closer than people are anticipating, and I do think it is going to be one of the better games of the week. Now Josh. I want to pivot to the Packers and the Niners. Now, I think listen,
I can't see. Mike.
What did he say?
I just want to tell Josh one statistic, and if he tells me it doesn't change his mind about the Ravens, it's a short statistic. If it doesn't change Josh's mind or make him feel uneasy, I will recline my statement. Josh, Texans star receivers contribute 3,200 yards. Texans star players, receivers and running backs for receiving yards, 3,208.
Right.
Their non-stars, their fillers, only contribute 1,370. Tank Dell is 709 of those yards, and he's out, and that's the only receiver out. You still have Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Dalton Schultz, and Brown. For Baltimore, their star receivers only contribute 2,300 yards to their receiving. Their no-names contribute 1,500. Mark Andrews is 560 of them, and he's out.
I mean,
Andrews got hurt. Andrews did get hurt later. You know, he was probably hurt midway through the season, I think.
yeah.
And he's definitely not playing, right? He's out for the year, I'm pretty sure.
Mark Andrews is out with an ankle injury. Dobbins is out with an Achilles injury. Jadeveon Clowney is out with an illness, and Devin Duvernay is out with a back. That's
Clowney's out with an illness. That's Clowney's on the Ravens.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They yeah, that's right. Shit.
Illness.
He'll be fine. He should
That's
be
what
back
he's
by then.
listed.
Jesus.
COVID.
What is that, the plague? An illness.
That's all he's listed at as illness.
Yeah. So I guess
It's
I feel
not
like that one
questionable.
should be that one. I feel like we'll be waiting to see what happens with that one. I mean, I think.
And then Texans is just Tank Dell out with a leg injury, and Malik Collins is out with a hip injury. That's the only two notable names on the IR in Texas.
I mean, you said what were those two names again? One more time.
Tank Dell, Texans star receiver, and Malik Collins, a D tackle.
Yeah, Tank Dell's a beast. So hopefully, yeah, shit. But, I mean, I do think it's going to be a great game. Nico Collins played great
Yeah. I mean,
last game. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
what about is Noah Brown playing?
Yes.
Noah Brown's pretty good too. I feel like they have the weapons to do it, man. They
They
really
have
do.
a good team.
You know, they do have the core to do it. Now,
You got to remember, OBJ's playing in the playoffs. We all know how playoff OBJ happens. Terrible.
Yeah.
no, I didn't think so. I thought he helped bring the Rams to the Super Bowl.
I can literally make you a montage.
He had a great playoff game. He had a great playoff and great Super Bowl. I feel.
He had a great
Yeah,
Super Bowl.
let me take that. Let me fact check that. Give me one second.
I'm pretty sure he had a with the Rams. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I feel like he had a great. I mean, we did with not with the Giants.
Yeah, absolutely not. But
I tell
do
you, I
remember
would not
having
bet
a
on his
great-
over.
What'd you say?
I would not bet on OBJ's over.
What's his over?
I don't know.
yeah, what if his over is like 30?
Yeah.
So
For a star wide receiver, your over's 30, you should probably just get out of the league. But while he's fact checking that, just to tell the tape for the quarterback, CJ's coming in with 100.8 QBR, 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Lamar's coming in at 102.7 QBR with 24 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. With Baltimore with a 6-3 home record, Houston is 4-4 on the road. They're both first in their respective division, and they're playing in Baltimore.
No rushing yards?
No, because their quarterbacks aren't running backs.
Yeah, so his stats for the playoffs are 4 games played with the Rams, 288, 2 receiving touchdowns, and he blew his Achilles out in the
Garbage.
26.
He was a
target.
slot receiver on LA too. He wasn't even a
Yeah,
fucking.
no, I just remember that touchdown he got.
That's what I'm saying. He's there for the moments that count. He's just
I'm honestly though, he makes a very good point because I am curious to see how Odell does on a solid team in the playoffs. You know, like I feel like it should be interesting. I love Odell.
he's gonna do the same thing he's done all season.
I love Odell, and I do think that he has the potential to be really great this postseason, and I'd love to see it. But unfortunately, it's going to be cut short because the Texans are going to win this week. Unfortunately for them.
We shall see.
But I want to get to the next game. We've talked probably about 10 minutes about the Texans and the Ravens, but now let's get into a game that we should probably blow past because I feel like it should be a little bit of a wash. I could be wrong. Crazier things have happened. But the Packers and the Niners.
Yeah, I feel like it should
Is
be.
Jordan Love going to pull? Does Jordan Love have another trick up his sleeve where he can just come in and beat that ass out of a team?
If that happens, I'm going to be shocked out of my mind. I just couldn't.
If it happens, you know why it would happen? Because Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions. If this is how they lose. Brock Purdy, 3 interceptions, 150 yards.
Yeah.
Like you can't do everything McCaffrey. Unfortunately, they're going to eventually, figure that whole thing out.
He can, don't you?
I mean, you're right. He could, but I don't think. I think the Packers could possibly pull it off, but I don't think it's going to happen. I do think the Niners will come out victorious unless Purdy falls apart, and we have seen that.
If that happens, McCaffrey's going in at quarterback. I'm telling you.
And now, Kerry, do you have anything different that besides the Niners are going to smoke the Packers?
I do think the Niners are going to smoke the Packers, but to entertain your thought about possibly Purdy shitting the bed, I don't think it matters. And I don't even think CMC has to go to quarterback, because if he's doing terrible, he's got 3 receivers and a running back who are all wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Their yards after catch are ridiculous. So if he's doing shitty where he can't get the ball over 7 yards, his check down, he's getting 5 to 6 yards.
Yeah,
easy.
That's a good. Yeah.
So that's going to create downs for them, which is going to create confidence if he does take a shit. Let's say he has a shit first quarter, and it's just like, all right, I got to hit my check downs for a quarter. He's still going to get first downs. It's not like another quarterback who's tanking and they're like, oh, let's run the ball and let's not get any yards. If he was like, oh, I got to run the ball, you're handing it off to CMC in playoff condition, or he can hit a screen to Brandon Ayuk or D-ball, where it's just I don't see a situation happening where the Niners are just dumbfounded. And I don't think Green Bay's defense can hold up the amount of firepower that the Niners are bringing.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball.
In San Francisco. Both sides of the ball, exactly. I don't see it happening. And I don't see Jordan Love having an answer for any of the San Fran defense.
Yeah, I agree. And now
I think it's another blowout. That's another Bills-Steelers game in my mind.
Yeah. All right. Now,
this is
one that's going to, I feel like, get you all excited here now. The Bucs Lions. And I know you have some some high praise for Baker. Now,
I do love Baker.
Now, why do you think that we'll go around here. Now, why do you think that the Lions, because I know that you think the Lions are going to lose to the Bucs. Now, why do you think that's the case?
Besides Baker Mayfield being an absolute dog, Detroit, playing in Detroit, I think they had their moment. I think they blew their load in the first round. And personally, I'll tell you the stats why I think Tampa's going to win is it's going to be a passing game. And I think overall Baker's a better quarterback than Jared Goff. I don't like Goff at all. But the stat is both running backs have 0 100-yard games, 0 10-plus yard runs in any game, and they average less than 5 yards per carry. Both running backs, excuse me. Both quarterbacks are coming in under 100 QBR. Tampa's 5-4 away. Detroit is 6-2 at home. Detroit has no big IR names, and neither does Tampa. Godwin is questionable with a knee, and Shaquille Barrett is questionable with an ankle. Questionable. They're not out. And then that's their only notable IRs, and they're both first in their NFC. Tampa's first in the NFC South, and Detroit's first in the NFC North. I mean, Tampa has a shit record for being first. I think they're 9-6 or something like that. I don't see Detroit holding off Baker Mayfield after that win. I just don't see it. Baker is 28 years old. He's still young. He's big. He's 6'1", 215 pounds. He can put his all 215 pounds behind the ball and zip it. He can run the ball, and 215 pounds hitting you in the chest is, for anyone, I don't care if you're a D lineman or a corner, you're getting bodied. So I think he's more of a multi-threat. I think Jared Goff's considered a pocket passer, and they don't have to worry about him. And when I say pocket passer, I don't mean a CJ Stroud pocket passer. He doesn't move the pocket. He doesn't move his feet at all. So I think Detroit has more on their plate than Tampa does, and I think that's going to work in Tampa's favor.
All right. I'm still in love with the Lions, so
yeah,
Lions are going to get this one for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, I it's funny. I'm kind of still torn on this one. I really am. Yeah, he makes some great points.
He definitely did.
He makes some very good points, and I do think that that Baker does have the capability and the team around him to win this game on Sunday. So I would not put it past the guy. Is this the best team he's played on so far? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You got receivers, you got a solid defense, you got a solid line, you have protection over there. Whereas, the Rams, he had a nice little run with the Rams. But, this is definitely the best team he's played on. And by far. I mean, you have possibly 2 Hall of Famers, Godwin and Evans receiver wise. And Evans is a beast, dude. You throw that ball up to Evans.
Throw him up top.
There's no stopping Evans. So I do think that the Bucs will end up coming out victorious this week. And the reason I say that, because I do think that they have what they need. I think Baker's gelled fantastically with the team. And I do think that they have the chemistry to do it. Granted, you can argue that the same thing, that the Lions have the same thing. Yeah. The Lions are riding hot.
That's
30-year playoff drought is gone. That's great. But, I think that this could possibly also be another fantastic game. And I do think the Niners are going to blow out the Packers.
Yeah.
But I do think that this game is honestly going to be interesting to watch, because what time is that game on? 3:00 on Sunday. Listen, dude, it's upsetting, because when you get these 4 games a year, it's getting upsetting because you're coming down to the final Super Bowl, and you're missing football for another 7 months after this.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is going to be one of the better games of the year. What'd you say?
Me?
Yeah.
I was going to, I didn't want to interrupt you, but who do you think, I was going to follow up with a statistic, because I'm your stats guy right now. Who do you think throws the ball more in the game, in the next game, not overall, Baker or Jared? In that one game, who throws the ball more?
That's great.
And with your answer, I will follow up with a statistic.
I think it's Baker.
You think Baker's going to throw the ball more?
Yeah, I think Baker will too. I mean,
they have a nice run game over in there in Detroit.
Yeah, the Lions, they got
Montgomery,
Gibbs.
You got Gibbs.
So every quarterback that threw the ball more in the first round lost. Every single one.
Interesting.
What do you mean? Well, now, what did you say?
Every quarterback that threw the ball more in the first round lost.
More than who?
Just like more than the team they were versing.
Joe Flacco, I'll give you an example. Joe Flacco threw the ball 46 times, lost. Let's see. Mahomes doesn't count.
Dak.
There's only 2 more. Green Bay, fucking Prescott threw the ball 61 times, lost.
I mean, they were down. That game was clipped.
The moment they stepped on the field, I mean, they just didn't know what they were doing.
Detroit, LA, Stafford threw the ball 36 times, lost.
Huh. Big stats guy over here, huh? This is what we bring you on for, huh? That's the statistics.
So if I'm a diehard fan and I'm watching interviews and I'm on Twitter looking at coaches and shit, and they're like, "Well, we're gonna have to air it out because Rashad White."
No, don't throw the ball.
No, don't leave it on the ground. I mean, they do have Rashad White over there in Tampa. I do agree with you. I do think that they will take this game.
How has Jamar Gibbs hasn't gotten a 10-yard run? Like, no one's gotten a. How is that possible?
What?
The tail of the tape is White versus Montgomery.
Oh, it's Montgomery. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Because Gibbs is still technically the back. Second. Even though he's out carried Montgomery a couple times this year.
Yeah, but that's like actually and Mostert.
Yeah, that's true.
Mostert could get 3 touchdowns and 280 yards, and he's still a second running back.
Now,
and both defenses average less than 100 yards against running per game. So to put that in English terms, neither defense will allow more than 100 yards average per game rushing.
Yeah, you're really not expecting a running game at all from either team.
No, I would not expect a run game. I would not bet on a running back in this game.
So I want to go to now Chiefs-Bills game.
That's going to be
It's going to be a great one
interesting.
too. I mean, I think the only game that I think could be washed this week is the Packers Niners,
Yeah.
which I could be wrong. Listen,
Who knows?
Jordan Love, it could be him, fucking him. Jordan Love could come out on the field and say, "Yo, I'm standing on business this game. I don't care."
That would be amazing to see. If he
know?
did that, you can't say nothing against him. That would be
I mean, especially
miracle.
what he has. He doesn't have half of what the Niners have, even a quarter of what they fucking have.
They have nothing.
But yeah, Chiefs Bills. I think the Bills are fucking thirsty. I think the Bills are thirsty. And I said this earlier in the year, and I did, and I'm going to quote myself, and maybe I can find the clip. Maybe I can. But I know for sure I do think that this Bills team could do it. They win this game. I think that they could possibly do it. And now, looking back earlier in the year, we had the conversation, is Josh Allen done? Like, what's going on? What's happening? Why is he playing like this? But now we're looking at it now. It's like, dude, he's still hanging around. He's not having any issue throwing the ball. I mean, like it looked like he was. It looked like
that massive run. He had to rush
yeah.
like 50
Oh yeah, it was great.
yards.
It was great
yards.
But I do think that the Bills are going to take this game, and once again, I said this to Carrie on the phone earlier. Don't doubt Patrick Mahomes because you can. You've told me this. We've had the conversation before.
He's that guy.
You can't doubt the guy, dude. He
will pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Exactly, and especially with Josh Allen. Is Josh Allen gonna choke in the playoffs against the Chiefs?
That's really what it comes down. Patty Mahomes is gonna do his thing either way.
Yeah.
If Josh Allen comes and does his thing, the Bills have a great chance of winning. If he comes there and starts throwing interceptions, they aren't gonna do it.
Yeah, and I think the Bills, dude. I would love to see a championship brought to New York.
I'd love it.
Even though it's not the Giants, I would love to see it. It's not.
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Bills fans, that parade would have to be covered by the Athletic Lounge because you bet your ass if the Bills make it to the fucking Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl, I'm sure we can all figure out how we can all manage to be there because I'm sure that's fucking sick. When was the last time the Bills won a Super Bowl? The whole city of Buffalo is probably going to be burned down by the time we even make it out there. So I do see the Bills winning. And you said do you think the Bills are going to win it, Kerry?
I don't know. What do you think,
the game?
Kerry?
The game or the whole thing or the Super Bowl?
The game.
Yes, I think the Super Bowl is going to be Bills Niners.
And you think, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, that'd be
And I don't know if I think it more than I hope it, because the last couple of years, the fucking Super Bowl has been a snooze fest.
Yeah. I mean, but they got to the halftime show.
The Super Bowl was never.
It was, I always forget that. It's so funny. It's like every year, it's like Super Bowl comes and goes, and you're like, who won last year? It was the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the year before that, I believe it was before that. It wasn't Philly, was it?
I don't know why. I was going to say Philly.
The last time they won an NFL championship is when the AFL and the NFL merged in 1970, pre-1970. 1964, 1965.
Buffalo?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. But they had that stretch of like 3 seasons that they went to the Super Bowl, but they lost all 3. Don't you remember that? They had like a curse set on them or something. They watched like this whole documentary on it.
Oh, the Rams won the year before, not Eagles. What the fuck are we doing? The Rams.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking about that shit.
Then it was Brady. Then it was.
You know what I'm hanging my hat on? That Buffalo's going to win, and it's one statistic that I just keep looking at, and I'm like, you just can't deny it, is that the Bills convert on third down 50% of the time.
Oh, that's great.
Wow. Compared to what, do you have an idea? What's the Chiefs?
The Chiefs are 43.6%. That's 6th in the NFL.
Wow.
Did you look up a stat of how often they win when Tay-Tay is in attendance?
That went out the window a while ago.
Really? I'm sure it still works. Still
You
relevant.
think she's going to Buffalo?
That's what I'm saying. I bet she's not.
She'll be in a box.
Yeah, that's true. She would be in a box. Be a nice warm box.
Yeah, but so what? She's always in a box.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
It's not like she's at the 50-yard line. Oh.
With her shirt off.
Yeah, exactly. Like she's always in the box. I don't know.
Speaking of that, I don't know. This is a little side note. I don't know if you saw it, but she was wearing a jacket. This is mad corny, Cub. but dude, I saw this. I saw this video on Twitter, and it was she was wearing a jacket. It was like a Travis Kelce jacket that was made by Kyle Juszczyk. Who's the fullback for the Niners? Do you know, Kerry?
Kyle Juszczyk. He's number 44. He came
Kyle
from
Juszczyk.
the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. So his wife made like this jacket. Like they showed the video of like her making the jacket with like different parts of like the Nike like the jerseys that Travis Kelce's worn. Fucking sick, dude.
That's
like
cool.
Cut like different parts of like his jersey, like different jerseys and his number, and like kind of made them onto a nice jacket. It was fire ass jacket, dude. Fire jacket. But anyways, that's a side note. But
yeah, she'll probably set it on fire.
The only reason I saw that was because it was like every video I saw of that jacket, it was them talking about, oh, Kyle Juszczyk's wife made this jacket. You know, it was like so. I saw that and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. But
so
yeah,
you guys wanted to hear the Taylor Swift stat?
Yeah. What's the Taylor Swift stat?
Kelce has totaled 49 catches, 627 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He averages 90 yards a game, 7 catches with her in attendance.
All right, shut.
What about without her in attendance? Kind of need the other side.
I'm getting there.
Sorry. I don't know. I doubt it actually matters, but I'm sure it depends. I'm sure Travis plays a little better when she's there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure he did. I mean, there was that one game that he had that she was there, and he fucking dropped that pass. And that drop pass he had to like,
and she was like, "I'm leaving you. I'm done with this. I knew it. Yeah,
that's it."
Okay, so these are the stats that she hasn't attended. It's not broken down really, but just for the last 4 games she was at, he had 4 catches against the Jags, 10 catches against the Vikings, 6 against the Broncos, 3 against the Dolphins, 7 against the Eagles, and 6 against the Raiders. So, you know, it's a fairly small amount of catches, but the yardage is way higher. So maybe his yak is way better when she's in attendance, but the catches are the same.
Shit. Well, I guess that remains to be seen. I think that will be a solid slate of football games this weekend. And I do think that now, Kerry, it's up to you if you want to stay on for a little longer. We have maybe about 10 more minutes left. I don't know if you want to talk about, Pete Carroll and these coaches. Pete, I don't know how familiar you are with Carroll, but where do you
I think they did Carroll dirty.
What?
They did Carroll dirty.
You think so? I think so too.
What was wrong with Seattle? Yeah, Gino, they missed the playoffs. So what?
Yeah, they just missed the playoffs too, by like a game.
You made it to the Super Bowl against Peyton Manning. Didn't even score a touchdown. You didn't fire him then. But because he made it, it's okay. Which is crazy to me. Who did they lose? They lost Russ. They still have Lockett. They still have Metcalf. They still have Bobby Wagner. They still have these huge names to work with. Bad year, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's an interesting one because
that one shocked me. I wasn't expecting that one at all.
And I don't expect him to stay with the organization either because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they wanted to like put him down to another spot. I don't see him doing that.
Yeah, no.
I don't know why he would want to.
Now Belichick, you said now I want to see if we can write this down. So where do you think Belichick is going, Kerry? We'll start with you.
I'm not big into coaching, so I don't know who's 1 foot out the door, who's not, and who's a lock to stay in their coaching position, obviously for the obvious ones. But not because he already met with Atlanta, but I think Atlanta is the perfect puzzle for him to solve. All the pieces are there. He just got to put it together. He's not building. He's just reworking.
Gotcha.
So I say Atlanta.
Now, Josh, what do you think? Where do you think Belichick ends up landing?
You know, I could see him going to. I feel like his best bet is going to the Cowboys because their team is already established.
So you think the Cowboys get rid of?
I mean, come on, just I just don't think he's the guy there. Showing that last game, and even how they were playing all year, I just don't think he's the guy there. Like, I know you're saying it's Jerry Jones. I think it's a whole spiel because that team is good. I don't know why that team isn't winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think if, Bill went there, did his full revamp, told Jerry to take a back seat for a couple years and, tightened up that defense, tightened up that offense.
Now, I think that personally, I think if he's going to leave Boston and go somewhere else and coach somewhere else, he's going to want to stay hot. He's going to stay warm. He's not going to want to go from cold to cold. I feel that's my opinion.
Say it, Mike. Say it. Say it.
Say what?
I'm thinking of a team right now because I was just thinking about this because I really wasn't prepared for this conversation, but now I am. And I have a team in my head, and you are working your way there. So I'm very curious on what you're going to say.
Huh. See, now that you said that, I kind of want to pivot now.
Well,
but I'm going to say two teams because I do think my idea, because I said it fucking 5 weeks before he was fired, that I thought he'd be great in LA. But realistically, now that you said that, I think he'd be good in Vegas.
Yeah, but they just got there. That new coach, he looked good.
After that coaching change, that whole franchise did a complete 180. They just didn't have enough time.
Yeah, you think that Vegas ends up sticking with?
I mean, he didn't do anything to get himself fired.
Yeah, but he didn't do himself anything to. He was like,
well, look what he was working with, and he did a good enough job to be like, oh shit, all right, you can keep the job.
You're telling me if Belichick landed on your fucking doorstep, you're saying, nah, we're okay. Nah, we're good. Thanks though. Thanks for stopping by. Fuck no. If Belichick wanted to go to fucking Vegas, I'm sure they would figure out a way to bring Belichick to Vegas.
Yeah, but why would he go to Vegas?
It's warm over there.
Why do you think Belichick has something against the warm? He's miserable all the time. It's perfect for the cold.
You're right. But I don't, I would assume you're going to leave Boston. Obviously, you're leaving fucking cold weather, cold all the time in Boston when they're playing football. Why not go to a place that's warm? You're in your tail end of your career. You got what? 4 or 5 years left until you're fucking retired for real.
What, just because he's old, he has to go somewhere warm?
I would assume so. Yeah. I mean, that's what I would do if I was fucking old. I'd stick to the teams that are fucking hot, but that's just me. I mean, now another one that fucking retired is not retired is fucking Nick Saban.
Oh yeah.
I think that one's.
Wait, Mike.
Yeah.
Sorry. Do you want to hear the team I was thinking of?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Jacksonville Jaguars. He's got Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Lawrence shows he can play in the playoffs. He can play in the playoffs.
That's an interesting one.
He's healthy. He's young. He's mobile. Just based on his body language when he loses a game, he's not mad or frustrated. He's confused. He has no idea why he lost that game with the stars around him. And I think it's the coaching. It was the same coach. I'm like 80% sure they've had the same coach since fucking MJD, fucking Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah.
And now I don't know. They have a new echelon. Like I said, all those players I just named, but the coaching is still the same. So I think Christian Kirk and NTN will reach a new level if they have a new play call.
Honestly, that's a great take. I didn't even really think of the Jaguars.
Me neither.
Honestly, that's a good one. I think that's realistic. I mean, granted, he spent like reportedly like 6 hours with Atlanta, or a crazy amount of time in Atlanta with the team meeting. So, I mean, I think that's great. I think Jacksonville would be perfect.
I mean, they finished 9-8, 17th in the NFL, and missed the playoffs. Second in the AFC South.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, well, Yeah, but I do think that he could possibly. I'm not going to take Jacksonville because you just said it, but I'm going to say he's probably going to go to LA. That's my guess. And I love to approach
LA
this
would be
topic.
nice, yeah.
You know, I love to approach this topic. When he decides where he's going to go. But I think that is going to do it. I was going to show some snowboarding, skiing footage, but screw that. I want to just put it all in one video.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that'd be the most beneficial.
Chop
It's
it
a
up,
vlog ski shit. I have some clips of us like, going out there. That should be up this week. I'm going to try to have this up before that. So it should be a long weekend. But anyways, Kerry, so I want to run through a schedule here, the little schedule change soon. So football's going to be ending soon.
Yeah.
So the pivot's going to end up basketball. So it's going to be basketball weekly. And now we have Kerry here, where you've met Kerry for the first time today. You saw him in the vlog to Seattle. But Kerry, I think we will start having baseball podcast starting probably, I'd say, beginning of February, I want to say. I mean, catchers and pitchers report, mid-February.
Absolutely. You also see me. I will do some vlogging for the Athletic Lounge during spring training. I will make my way out to Port St. Lucie. I'm a big Mets fan, so you will see me in Port St. Lucie and around Tampa for the Peach League and the Grapefruit League.
Sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have plenty of content coming. So, so stay tuned, guys. Is there anything that you wanted to add in?
I think we're good. If you're going snowboarding, you're going 55 miles an hour. Don't crash because it sucks.
Yeah, I have plenty of footage I want to say over an hour of footage of us all skiing, me, Josh, Kerry. So that will definitely be coming out this weekend. But as far as the basketball goes, that will start. We've made the general decision that shit is going to start after basketball, after football's over. So, and then, we can figure out what's going on with Kerry to start the baseball podcast, which should be good. That's going to be a long season, 162 games. That should be a good one. And, he's going to be in Jersey deployed for a little bit. So, we'll still
I'll be around the Phillies a lot.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll have a couple vlogs up, a couple games up this summer. So should be a nice content schedule coming. Thank you for 100 and something subscribers.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Yeah. So that's cool too. We appreciate it. And thank you for all the love and the likes and shit on YouTube and Instagram. And we appreciate it. And thanks for watching, guys.
Deuces.
Peace out, guys. Thanks.